It's one of the most important aircrafts ever built. The Douglas DC-3. A design so ahead of its time, it turned commercial air travel into a real business. A machine so reliable, it flew through both war and peace. And a legacy so strong, some are still flying it, nearly 90 years later. Previously, in Part 1, we explored the groundbreaking beginnings of Douglas aviation, from the commercial breakthrough of the DC-1 and DC-2. Now, in the second part of our 5-part series, we enter a new chapter. In this episode, we'll dive deep into the design genius, the impact of the DC-3 on commercial aviation, and its vital role in wartime operations. But that's not all. In Part 1, we arrived from Manassas Regional to Montreal. Today we will fly to Goose Bay Airport. Following this, in Part 3, we will head to Narsarsuaq in Greenland, followed by Reykjavik in Iceland, and finally, Prestwick to Duxford. As we continue our own modern-day recreation of the DC-3's historic transatlantic journey, we'll see just what it was like to fly this legend across oceans, with nothing but piston power and sheer determination. We will continue the remainder of this story during cruise. So, strap in. History is about to take flight. Again.
Ground Air Canada 912 Heavy with you approaching Alpha Lima.
912 Heavy ground, runway 23, ATIS Papa, altimeter 3000, taxi Alpha, hold short Alpha Kilo.
3000, taxi Alpha, hold short of Alpha Kilo for Air Canada 912.
And 912, contact ground 12165.
165 Air Canada 9124. Ground Air Canada 912 Heavy with you approaching Alpha Kilo.
And 912 Heavy ground, morning, hold short of Romeo.
Hold short of Romeo for Air Canada 912.
Ground Jazz 139, looking at taxi.
Jazz 139, runway 20, square 3029, taxi Oscar Alpha Bravo Tower 18-3, hold short.
Oscar Alpha Bravo Tower short, Jazz 139.
April 7569 Alpha Lima.
April 7569 Alpha Lima, lane 8, just hold in sequence behind the Embraer.
Okay, lane 8, we're holding sequence behind company April 7569.
Virgin 7360 Delta, Quebec in lane 9, and hold it near your gate, we just pushed off of it.
Lane 9, hold it.
7315, lane 10, hold short of Delta Romeo.
Lane 10, hold short, Delta Romeo, Jordan 7315.
tail north, Coppertail.
North 223.
Previously, in Part 1, we traced the origins of the DC-2, Douglas aircraft's bold step into the future of aviation. It was fast, sleek, and capable, already outpacing many of its competitors. When KLM became the first non-US airline to operate the DC-2 in 1934, the world began to take notice. Now, in this episode, we follow the DC-2 as it enters the global stage, not just as a passenger aircraft, but a capable cargo hauler, and also as a competitor in one of the most ambitious races of its time. In 1934, a DC-2, operated by KLM Airlines, was entered in the Mack Robertson Air Race from London to Melbourne, Australia. It came in second against a specially built de Havilland DH-88 Comet, but more importantly, it beat out its rival, a Boeing Model 247D. The DC-2 was a standard commercial transport that followed a normal commercial route that was 1,230 miles longer than the route taken by the Comet. It also carried a crew of 3 paying passengers and 420 pounds of cargo. Although it came in second, it demonstrated that a new era in commercial aviation had begun. While the Europeans had focused their attention on military aircraft, the Americans had been steadily improving commercial aviation with hundreds of airliners that were faster than any plane in regular service with the RAF. There was no European equivalent to the DC-2. In 1935, the DC-2 became the first Douglas aircraft to receive the prestigious Collier Trophy for outstanding achievements in flight. Douglas built 156 DC-2s at its Santa Monica plant in California, and a total of 193 DC-2s were built. Further improvements were made when Douglas attempted to fulfill yet another requirement, this time from American Airlines. American operated Curtiss T-32 Condor Sleeper aircraft on its transcontinental flights. Wanting to keep abreast of the latest developments, they asked Douglas for still larger version of the DC-2, which resulted in the DC-3. The DC-3 prototype first flew on December 17, 1935, and the design was soon being produced in 2 versions for American Airlines, the 14-passenger DST Sleeper and a 21-seat daytime airliner. Services with DC-3s began in June 1936. What was to become perhaps the most important airliner in history quickly established its reputation with this and other operators, including the military. The accident rate in the early days of the DC-3 was comparatively low. As the DC-3 became more universal, the number of fatal accidents even decreased. In 1936, for example, domestic airlines flew 63 million miles and had 8 fatal accidents. In 1941, there were only 4 fatal accidents for 133 million miles flown. To relieve the pressure on the factory, Douglas sold the licenses to manufacture the DC-3 to 3 countries: Holland, Japan, and Russia. A royalty paid to Douglas for each aircraft manufactured was part of the license agreement. Tony Fokker never manufactured any DC-3s for Holland, but he distributed 63 before the war in Europe ended his operation. Fokker died of pneumonia complicated by meningitis a week before Germany invaded Holland. Russia built as many as 20,000 Li-2s. The PS-84 used the 900 horsepower Shvetsov M62 engine, developed from the licensed Wright SGR-1820F, which powered the DC-2, and the engine configuration gave the nacelles a narrower chord. Even after they upgraded the engines to 1,200 horsepower ASH-62, the nacelle shape remained close to the first models. When the DC-3 came along, the Japanese also recognized its potential, especially since they had such great success with the DC-2. Great Northern Airways and the Far East Fur Trading Company, another Japanese military front company, purchased at least 21 DC-3s from Douglas between 1937 and 1939. The first, intended for KLM as PHARA, was cancelled and arrived in Japan on December 6, 1937. These transports were operated by Dai Nippon Koku and impressed into imperial service during the war. The surviving transports were scrapped at the end of the war. On February 24, 1938, a Japanese manufacturer, Mitsui, a subsidiary of Nakajima Hikoki, purchased the production rights and technical data to the DC-3 for $90,000. Unknown to the United States at the time, the sale was directed behind the scenes by the Imperial Japanese Navy, who was planning on using the type in the invasion of the East Indies. This concludes part 2 of the commentary on the history of this legendary aircraft. Hope you enjoyed it during the cruise. Now, enjoy the landing into Goose Bay Airport, which includes cinematic shots for the landing and taxi phases. And finally, in the next video we will commence our true transatlantic journey to Narsarsuaq in Greenland, where there awaits a truly beautiful and mesmerizing landscape. See you in part 3. Enjoy the rest of the video and do subscribe to the channel if this video is worth your while. Thank you.
Colour Delta Echo, cross the turbulence 767, departed ahead, wind calm, clear takeoff, runway 23.
Hold for takeoff, runway Delta Echo, check.